Hey everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm at Retro Rick's GamePoint in Conway, Arkansas. It's about 40 minutes from where I live. I come here all the time, but I've never done an actual walkthrough and shown you guys what it looks like inside. And I'm here with one of my big YouTube heroes, Koralik. So we're gonna go in here and check it out, get some footage for you guys, and show you what Retro Rick's is all about. So let's go do it.
Oh, he's got a creepy smile.
See how long I can get that going.
That's not what's staring at you.
Adam, what a way to go if you were crushed by the giant Double Dragon NES game.
I think that's probably not heavy enough to actually. It would suck though, because if that is like a pound or whatever and just hit my head and I just died just from the, what a stupid way to end it.
Would be
Crushed by an NES game.
It's not even a Sega game.
No, I know.
NES
That's
game.
The horrible irony of it.
The horrible
Terrible.
irony.
At least you'd make some money. Stupid D-list YouTuber dies. LOL.
That's funny. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Retro Rick's GamePoint. First thing when you walk in the door, you look to your left and you see the Nintendo Play Choice 10. So right off the bat, you know that this is not your ordinary video game store. And we're located in Conway, Arkansas here at Retro Rick's GamePoint. Fun fact, GamePoint was not always Retro Rick's. Before it was just called GamePoint, and then he purchased the place and really kind of made it his own. As you can see, this is a nostalgia store right here. It's not just a place where you can buy and sell and trade video games. You can see he really went all out with the 80s and 90s nostalgia with the Mario and the Jeffrey from Toys R Us there, and he's really good with that branding. That's a character that he created on that hat there. He's got some stickers too. He really went all out, and this place has really kind of transformed quite a bit since he took ownership of it. So on the wall here, we've got a bunch of Switch games. Now the reason I wanted to show you this is because of the very wide selection of games. We've got a bunch of common stuff here, but there's also some things that you don't really see that often, which is also kind of cool. And, you know, I'm not the biggest Switch collector by any means, but it's still cool to see because I know it is a very popular system. And, you know, some of those are complete with the original cases, but you see he's got those Retro Rick branded cases for those that don't come with their original cases. Hey, Darth Vader. And they're the big glass case. That's all brand new Switch stuff right there. Fitting to have Sonic Tower above the Nintendo case there. That's a really cool retro Sonic thing. Yeah, so over here in the glass display, this is kind of like the museum of Retro Rick's store right there. There's just a couple of those glass displays where he's got some interesting stuff like the homage to Home Alone, stuff like that. Rick is really kind of an 80s guy. I'm more of a 90s guy myself just because that's the era that I was born. But so again, we've got a lot of different stuff in here. There's so much stuff, and in fact there's so much stuff that I didn't even see it when I was in the store, and we spent a good hour or so in there just trying to take in everything. But you've got a lot of selection here. Look at all those toys, and those are brand new stuff and used stuff too. I mean, there's something in here for everybody that's into nostalgia. Check out those Nintendo Powers as well. He's got a display case that's strictly reserved for Pokemon cards. I know a lot of people are into that sort of thing, especially now compared to back in the day. But that's exactly what's in this case. It's just a bunch of lightly used but somewhat valuable Pokemon cards from all different eras. I never got into the card game myself. I was more of the Game Boy game guy for Pokemon stuff. And so we've got so much going on in here. There's a lot to take in, but one thing that I really enjoy is seeing those kiosks, man. He's collected those kiosks for, that's the PlayStation right there, as you can see, and it's just so cool to see it pretty much complete. And this is quite a big place as well. You can see the ceiling up there. It goes up and up and up. And there's an upstairs area where he does some videos and stuff like that, where he keeps all the back stock. So now we're on the main game room floor here, where we've got pretty much just your common stuff, you know, your stuff that's not going to be super expensive. You can see he's got a ton of NES and Super Nintendo games on these shelves that anybody can just go up and thumb through, which is really nice. And we'll see the very same for the Xbox 360, stuff like that. You know, it's really nice to see all of these games laid out like this in a store this big. Everything's not just in the glass display cases, but we will be seeing that later in this video. So 3DS has its own section, which is really nice. It's really interesting to see the Pokemon Sun, Moon, and X and Y just kind of sitting out there. I'm wondering if in the future those will kind of get up there with Heart Gold and Soul Silver as far as the rarity. We might not be seeing those games out and about like that. They might be tucked away in a glass case with all the other expensive stuff eventually. Kind of curious to see what you guys think about that. But anyway, so looks like we're into the common PlayStation 3 stuff. Really nothing too exotic here. And, you know, to be honest, I'm really also surprised to see how many Sega Saturn games that he's managed to keep stock of. And this is just a glimpse there. There's some Dreamcast games there too. But I think this kiosk right here was used back in the day in hospitals, if I remember correctly. It looks like some sort of hospital rig right there, but correct me if I'm wrong. Now we've got the Nintendo GameCube section, which is one of the larger retro systems that he has on display right there. And one thing that Adam and I kind of talked about after we left the store was the fact that he's got a lot of selection as far as the games are concerned, but it's kind of concerning how many of those games aren't actually complete in the box, meaning missing the manual. And, you know, I realize that that's not a big deal to some people, but if you're going for, you know, a collection of some kind, odds are you probably want to get those complete with the manual, just because hunting them down later is a really, really difficult task. Okay, so now we're on to some Sega Genesis stuff, the good stuff, the Sega stuff over here. Really not that big of a Sega CD collection, but to be honest, that's not very surprising at all. Bunch of loose cartridges and a surprisingly large amount of Genesis games in the box, even though most of those are not particularly great games. But there are some good ones like, you know, Jungle Book, Lion King. He's got some Sonic the Hedgehog down there. And he had the Revenge of Shinobi right there, that blue case, but unfortunately didn't have the manual. I was really kind of interested in that. That's a game that I would like to get complete in box. But if you're looking for a cartridge just to complete a box that you already have, that's a good place to start. So here's a glimpse into the expensive stuff over here. We've got, you know, the Pokemon 3DS over there. I think that one was like $1,000 or something like that. Virtual Boy for $3.99, I think. And of course the Panasonic Q. Super rare Japanese GameCube variant there, as well as that little Lego set, that Nintendo NES Lego set there. See if we can see that red cartridge right there. That's the ED64 Plus for the N64, which for a long time was a relatively cheap flash cartridge that you could get on eBay for like $64. And that's actually the first flash cartridge that I got for that system, and I used it quite a bit. So we're getting a wider shot of the store here. We've got a bunch of stuff on the walls. That's where he keeps all the consoles and stuff. And every time I come in here, there's like some new signage going on. It's really getting kind of crazy. And you can see all those toys on display there, just 80s and 90s nostalgia stuff. But those boxes on that wall, they are games that you can purchase, or systems, consoles, if you will. So here we're getting into the display cases where we have some rarer Switch games and 3DS games there. And let's see here. We got the Kingdom Hearts. Looks like a collector's set of some sort in the 3DS there. Shantae's always going to be expensive no matter what. We've got some more Wii stuff, some Wii U. Not particularly expensive games, but just probably the games that people actually really want to buy, so the demand is kind of up there. And now we've got some Game Boy games in the display case there. Some of the more desirable, I won't say rare, because those don't look like they're too rare, but more of the desirable games there. Really surprised to see 3 copies of Pokémon Emerald, which is a really heavy hitter game. To see 3 of them in the same spot, that's like a $300 game. So to see them there all together is kind of strange. Get some controllers for your GameCube and some extra Game Boy consoles there, which is really cool to see. And it's looking really nice in here, man. And this is just a small chunk of what is actually in this store here. Got some Vita games. For some reason, Fortnite on the PS4, is that an expensive game? Surely not. I have no idea. And we've got another display case that's kind of standing up there that's just for your Game Boy, stuff like that. Imagine finding you in the Sega area.
That was highly unlikely.
I was saying, I need to find Adam. Where is he? I'll look for the Sega stuff. I'll find him.
Typically.
Sega's pretty cool, man. Now we're on to N64. Mostly this is just the more desirable stuff, of course, and then he's got everything that's complete in the box too. And most of these are just going to be in really good condition. Some of the ones that obviously aren't super expensive, like 1080 Snowboarding is not an expensive game. Then you've got the Japanese variants of those Mario Party games, which is really cool. He seems to always have the Pokemon Stadium games complete in the box there. So Star Fox 64 complete, really cool to see. Hybrid Heaven, one of my favorite games, saw a glimpse of that. And now we're on to Super Nintendo over here in this display case right next to it. I really love how everything is just so tidy and neat in these display cases. You know, we've got a section per console, SNES, N64, and NES is right next to that. So the Nintendo stuff is really nice and neat. And I don't think I got any footage of the PS1 stuff behind that. Oh, that hurts so bad to do that. Oh my god. And there's your NES stuff right there. Some of the Mega Man games, heavy hitter stuff, Punch Out, just mostly desirable stuff in there. And here's the good stuff, the Sega stuff. I didn't get as much footage of this as I would have liked, but there's where your Dreamcast stuff is, your Sega Saturn stuff, all that expensive goodness. Dark Wizard's great Sega CD game, all sorts of good stuff in there, and that's where the heavy hitter complete in-box games are as well. Retro Rick has a really cool store, man. As you can see, this is just a drop in the bucket of all the cool stuff he has in there. We'd have to be in there all day to properly document everything, but it's not just a game store. It's a nostalgia store. You go in there, you don't have to pay anything, and you get to see all that cool stuff that reminds you of your childhood, and that's one of the reasons that it's so popular. There's so many people in there bringing him stuff all the time, and he did such a great job with documenting everything in that store, man. If I could say one bad thing about it, I would just say that it was kind of dry in there this time. And, I think that's probably because he just had a really big sale for Black Friday and he's doing Christmas sales and stuff like that. So, there's some cool stuff in there, but just not as much as he usually has pretty much at this particular time. But, if you guys are in the Conway area in Central Arkansas, you owe it to yourself to really check out Retro Rick's GamePoint. You should check out his YouTube channel as well. Put a link in the description so you can follow him. Subscribe to him on YouTube. But if you're into retro video games and retro video game music, you're in the right spot. You should really check out my channel here on YouTube, Travis Bowman. You can subscribe to me, like this video, comment, tell me what you thought about Retro Rick's GamePoint. I'll catch you guys at the next one. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.